as we go along. Otherwise, we can send them the recording as well.
Sounds good, Peter.
Yeah, so thanks for joining me today, Tiag, and also to those who have joined the webinar itself. It's not going to take too long. It's just a brief introduction to the Workware platform. And I'll let Tiag introduce the platform and some of the benefits that it has, which we see great potential for here in Australia. So I basically run a consulting company here in Australia based out of Melbourne. One of the areas that I focus on, which you can see from my logo, is community, and community is all to do with human resource and people management. And that's where this solution and product falls under. I see a lot of potential for it, as I have done quite a bit of work in human resource software, people management, and also resource augmentation type of projects for medium and large scale companies in Australia. I'm based in Melbourne, but I have clients through all the other states in Australia as well. So that's just a little bit about me. And I'd also like to introduce Tiag, uh, who has a excellent past. From, as you can see from the screen, he's had some experience in the Silicon Valley, which everyone dreams of going to and working in, and also with large consulting companies, and a lot of experience across different types of industry verticals, such as pharmaceuticals, retail, and public sector. So Tiag is the co-founder and CEO of this solution called Workware. I think he sits in Singapore, but has work across India and Singapore and other parts of the world as well. So that's a bit of a brief about Tiag, and I'll let Tiag take over now and maybe go through the platform itself. Tiag, over to you, man.
Thank you, Peter, for the kind introduction. Hi, everyone. It's nice to meet you. Can I quickly check, Peter, that you can see my screen and the
Yes,
slides?
can see the screen
Great.
and can hear you well.
Okay, great. As Peter mentioned, I'm a co-founder and CEO at Workware, and we are in the HR technology space. We have a solution that helps organizations to strengthen talent management, and that's what we will speak about. So our starting point when we started off with Workware was really to look at people networks. And we believe that people networks have a lot of potential. And our goal was, how do we activate those people networks? We looked at one example, such as LinkedIn. And it's a great example because LinkedIn has been successful in bringing together close to 1 billion strangers, right, onto a common platform. And by doing that, what they have done is to transform various business interactions that take place across organizations or between individuals and organizations. So if you look at some of the statistics relating to hiring on the LinkedIn platform, you have something like 140 job applications every second. And the number of people who get hired or who search for jobs is quite staggering, actually. The statistics here are more specific to the US market, but they do apply around the world as well. But it's not just in one area of interaction, whether it's business development, whether it's marketing, LinkedIn has been quite transformative. So that's the lesson we've taken. And then we said, what if we look within organizations, right? There is a private network of employees within all organizations, whether the organization has a couple of hundred people or whether it's a large organization with 50,000 people. There is a powerful private network within. And our goal was, how can we activate this private network so that we can significantly increase employee engagement as well as employee career development. And subsequently, as a result, this will increase at an organizational level, both retention and performance. And that's what we set out to do. And we said, if you look at all the employees within an organization, they have aspirations. And within the organization, there are opportunities. How do we match them? I would just like to take an example to illustrate. As Peter mentioned, I've worked with a number of different industries, and I've had the good fortune to work with more organizations than I would have wanted to. And part of the reason is that I'm part of the dot-com era, or a product of the dot-com era. So we had no choice. There were a lot of layoffs in those times. But it was a good learning experience. In my last work, I was with Credit Suisse for close to 12 years, building and managing teams across Asia and Europe. Now, Credit Suisse at the beginning of last year had close to 50,000 employees globally and an additional 20,000 contract workforce. And if you think about it, that's a really powerful network. But an average employee would know less than 5% of that network. Someone like me who'd spent 12 years in the organization, and at that time I had close to 25 years of cumulative work experience. So I was not very junior, but I knew at most 1,500 people, even though I'm part of a large organization of 50,000 people. So that would mean that the average employee does not have visibility into every corner of the network that they belong to. Now, conversely, if you look at Credit Suisse as an organization, they do not understand the aspirations of each of the 50,000 systematically, right? We do have structured annual conversations with our line managers where we focus a lot on the performance objectives of the current role for the current year. But depending on the relationship between an employee and their line manager, they may or they may not share openly about their career aspirations. So there is a missed opportunity here. The bank does not systematically understand the career aspirations of all its employees, and the employees do not have complete visibility into all the opportunities that exist within that network that they belong to. And many times, as a result, they may look externally, right? So our belief is that you can leverage this network. And we are also starting to see this happen around the world at this time. On this slide, I listed a number of organizations around the world that are starting to leverage the power of the internal network, whether that's through vendor solutions, such as us, Workware, or our competitors, or through internal solutions. But we are starting to see this especially happen over the last 2 to 3 years more. We are starting to see that. And this is across industry sectors. So to summarize, what we think is that by activating the internal people network within an organization, you can significantly increase employee engagement. You can empower employees so that they can autonomously look for appropriate career opportunities that are personalized and recommended to them. And consequently, at an organizational level, you can significantly increase agility. And that's what Workware does. We deploy our solution within an organization, whether that's a couple of hundred people, 10,000 people, 50,000 people. When we deploy our network, we create a private virtual community of all the employees in that organization. And that unlocks the power of that network in multiple ways. And I'll share a little bit more as we go forward. So it doesn't matter if an employee is looking to just upskill or reskill or develop existing skills. Maybe someone else wants to be a mentor. Maybe there's a manager who's got a lot of work but not enough resources. We kind of help all of them to come together on a common network and help each other, right, autonomously. So Workware is an internal people network solution. In some instances, some people also refer to it as an internal talent marketplace. We are slightly more than an internal talent marketplace, but we have an internal people network solution which has a few standard elements in there. It's been built to be employee driven, right? So we built it in a way similar to social media platforms so that we don't need to orchestrate how employees interact. Really, it's built in a simple, intuitive manner so that users can find their own way and help themselves. But the platform is overall built so it can be managed by HR, so that HR can lay the rules of talent management of the organization and build that onto the platform. It's a cloud-based solution. We are ISO 27001 certified. And what you see on the screen here are a few core modules. And these modules can all work seamlessly together so that we can share intelligence from one module to the other, but they all come in a single intuitive platform. So for example, we have a skills framework. We can implement an out-of-the-box skills framework in your organization, and we leverage existing skills framework around the world to create our own proprietary version, but we are also able to incorporate any existing skills framework that you have into our platform. Through that, we provide active career pathways that are self-guided for employees, open mentoring platform, a recognition tool, an internal gig marketplace to support hands-on learning or for people to do stretch assignments to build their network with different parts of the organization. Communities for better engagement and learning, people discovery, and we also have Pulse built in. So all of these elements work together seamlessly on a single platform. It's important to connect with existing resources that you have. So you may have a HRMS system today, whether it's a Workday, SuccessFactors, or some other solution, where you may have employee data. You would have open job roles in your organization. So we connect with those systems so that, for example, when users log into Workware for the first time in your company, they don't have to key in the profile from scratch. Any existing data, we would use that to already create profiles for them. We would look at open job roles that you have, and we would recommend them in a tailored manner within the Workware platform for users because we understand their aspirations. We would also connect with any learning management platform that you have, whether that's LinkedIn Learning or any other solution that you use, to understand what training courses you have available, and also bring that to our platform to recommend to users. So what does that mean for the average user, right? So an employee will log on to Workware, and they'll have an instance, they'll have access to a private network of your organization. They can connect with other employees to get to know more about your organization or what's happening on a regular basis. They can express their aspirations with the platform. So these could be, as for example, maybe someone is in a particular city, they want to move to another city. Now, this can be within the same country or across other countries if you have multiple locations around the world. They may want to experiment with a new role. Maybe they're in finance and they want to try their hand at data science. They may want to work with certain people. So maybe you're in marketing, you dream of becoming the CMO someday, but you're quite young and you want to work with people who are considered rock stars so you can improve your marketing skills. So what we do is we understand these aspirations of every employee. In the platform, we understand what are the opportunities landscape within your company. So some of these opportunities landscape we spoke about just now. So for example, if you have internal job roles, if you have training courses, stretch assignments, etc. So we understand all of these, and then we recommend them to your employee in a seamless way so they can help themselves. So everything depends on adoption. We don't just roll out the solution, we support the adoption of the users. So firstly, we built our platform so that it's easy to adopt. But at the same time, we also have a structured change management toolkit that we deploy. And we use that to ensure that there is sufficient adoption and sustained usage of your platform over time. So to conclude, just to share a couple of examples across different industry sectors that we are working in. We are working with companies in the tech services or professional services. Here we see the challenge being young distributed workforce that is often more connected with the customer organizations than with the company that they are employed with. They also work quite remotely. So we create a vibrant online community to increase engagement with the community. So people feel connected and part of the company. So it could be that you're part of PwC, but constantly working with client and organizations. So we want to make sure you feel well connected with PwC and your colleagues within PwC. We help them to find opportunities for development within professional services organizations. Skills are a critical element. So for client teams, we enable them to find the right resources within. They may not be within your immediate location, but you may have appropriate skills in other offices. So how can you discover and tap into those skills? We also help employees to constantly upskill themselves. So that's an element. In financial services, we're doing work with a group. They have 11 different legal entities, some in insurance, asset management, etc. So they want to strengthen talent mobility across the group. Today, talent mobility is largely within each company, right? But it's not across the entire group. Many times, if someone leaves a company, they leave the group. But we're trying to help them implement a skills framework, career pathway, so that people can look for opportunities, not just within the company, but across the entire group. Right? We're working with an outsourcing company in Philippines who's completely remote, largely remote. Their employees are distributed all over the Philippines. So we are helping to strengthen employee engagement. At the same time, we are leveraging stretch assignments, project management, etc., to strengthen the delivery to their clients. So these are just some examples that we are working with clients, and we're happy to share more if people would be interested. With that, I'd like to conclude and happy to take any questions that people may have. Thank you. Over to you, Peter. Oh.
Yeah, so Tiag, one of the questions that will always come up is are there any type of systems similar to Workware that is currently being used in large organizations? And if you look at solutions like Microsoft or Google, do they have applications that are part of their solution suite that kind of does anything like what Workware does? And if it is the case, then where does Workware differentiate itself?
Yeah, very good question, Peter. The short answer is yes, as with any enterprise applications, but I will share with you how we are quite differentiated from some of those solutions. So there are probably three categories of solutions that have something similar. The first would be our direct competitors. So as I mentioned, we are an internal people network, or we also refer to as internal talent marketplace. We have direct competitors around the world who offer the same thing as us. Each of us have a slightly different variation. But at the moment, this particular marketplace, as I mentioned, with what's happening around the world, most of the leading players are niche players like Workware, right? So that's the first category. The second category would be large companies that offer a little bit of what we do, and these would be HRMS platforms. So for example, SuccessFactors and Workday, naturally, they would have a talent management module. But in most instances, most companies find a niche provider like Workware to have a better offering, because naturally we are a lot more detailed, not more in-depth. And also, if you look at what I was sharing with you earlier, a lot of those solutions are not built for your regular employee in the company. They're built specifically for the HR employee to manage the employee's life cycle. So naturally, adoption is a challenge, and that's the reason why a number of customers that we work with already have SuccessFactors or Workday in place, and then they use a solution like Workware to strengthen talent management and to work in a complementary fashion to existing HRMS system. And the last set of solutions would be niche solutions that provide one component or of what we provide. So examples of this would be, for example, Yammer, right? Yammer would provide a lot of the employee engagement elements of it, right? That's why I'm sharing this particular screen that I'm sharing over here. If you look at the first part of employee engagement, Yammer, to some extent, Slack would provide connectivity, feeling part of a community, right? But what they clearly do not do, or is not a focus, is around empowering employees on the career development front. right? So, for example, if you talk about having a skills framework and using, career pathways and recommending opportunities to users based on their aspirations. So basically, to tell an employee, hey, you said you wanted to move from Singapore to London, right? Let's help you build your network with the London office. And here are a bunch of stretch assignments you could do. Here are some mentors you can work with, right? Here are some internal mobility roles. And then for you to then use Workware to work on that stretch assignment or to apply for mentoring support and work with the mentor, all of that on career development. We support that, for example, is not a focus of a Yammer or a Slack today, right? Um, and similarly, you would have certain solutions on employee engagement, such as Qualtrics, that people would use to check on the pulse of the employee, right? So that's one component of employee engagement. But we build all of these elements in a common platform, right? So you could almost think of us, as a platform solution as opposed to a singular point solution. And the reason we deliberately do that is from an employee's perspective, we want to bring all the resources together seamlessly, whether that's 360 feedback or project management or connecting in a community to know more. We want to bring all of it in a similar place so it's seamless and we can share insights across some of these. Just to wrap up, so for example, going back to that example of what I said about moving from Singapore to London, right? Not only are we able to recommend opportunities that are work related, such as stretch assignments or training, we can also say, hey, here are a bunch of interest groups where you have an interest and you have a number of people in the London network from your interest who also have an interest, right? We have community posts where if people in your target in London office are posting it, we show that to you and say, hey, why don't you engage in this? So we kind of try to apply a certain level of intelligence and bring all of these together to work for the user's benefit.
Yeah, that's
I hope.
fantastic. Yeah, no, that's very good feedback. And, like you and I have discussed
Yeah,
before, for me personally, I see huge, huge potential for this. It's just being able to target the right people to talk to, because since COVID,
absolutely.
this working from home is part and parcel of corporate uh, or work life, if you want to call it that. But there's a concept that is now even, this working from home is now, it's an old buzzword. It's now working from anywhere. So you could be,
Indeed.
contracted to a large organization in Melbourne, in Australia, but you could be working on a project that's in the UK or in the US, and it's all about engagement and collaboration with your internal network. So I personally think there is huge potential for this. I want to thank you for your time today, and
Sure.
we'll continue to get in front of organizations here in Australia to promote and see the benefits of the workwear solution. So, Tiag, with that,
Great.
I'll say thanks and end this meeting, and I shall talk to you soon.
Great. Thank you so much, Peter.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye for now.